Ahoy, mateys! You're watching you're watching DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou sitting over there in John's seat. Well, not literally, but in John's spot in this version of the Brady Bunch opening theme is Scott Stantis, editorial cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune. John Kiriakou is out today. He'll be back tomorrow. We're here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we will be back again at 9 o'clock Eastern time with John. As I said, tomorrow we're doing something different. It's going to be a call-in show via the Discord server. We'll bring in producer Robbie in a little bit to just discuss how that's going to work. So you can call me or John, or me and John, and talk to us in real time. That is only a Rumble exclusive. So YouTube will not be broadcasting live at the usual time, 9 a.m. tomorrow. We will feed up a taped version of the call-in show later in the day as soon as we can. We'll probably get it up around I would imagine by 12 noon Eastern. So we apologize for that. This is just trying something new. This might be a further impetus to get over to Rumble. As always, if you have any comments, questions for Scott or myself, please put them in the Rumble or the YouTube chat. And away we go. So, Scott, nice. Thanks you so much for filling in for John this morning. Always great to see you. And just another bit of housekeeping. Scott and I will be back in 2 hours doing the DMZ America podcast. We will have our guest, animated political cartoonist and Pulitzer Prize winner, Mark Fiore. He's the only, I think, animated editorial cartoonist to have ever won the Pulitzer. So he's the first and the last.
Walt Handelsman won for his animations.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I apologize. He was first. Mark was first, though, and so and others. It's an interesting space that he's in, and we'll check in with him about how all things about satirizing Trump and lots of other stuff and the news of the day and whatever we want to talk about. Okay, so lots to talk about today. You noted my ahoy matey thing in honor of piracy on the high seas. It hasn't really been enough for Trump to blow up Venezuelan boats. Now we're seizing oil tankers.
Not to mention Venezuelans.
And Venezuelans, that's right. So the U.S. Basically boarded an oil tanker. It's not, I don't believe it's flagged as a Venezuelan tanker, but this tanker apparently has been used to ship lots of stuff, lots of oil, and including from Iran and also Venezuela. And basically the legal justification being given is that this is sanctioned product, and that obviously this is just another attempt to put pressure on on President Nicolás Maduro. The Federal Reserve Bank it lowered interest rates by 1/4 of a point yesterday.
So
this was the most split vote in memory by the Board of Governors. And basically they can't decide whether the problem is inflation or the weak job market or both or something else. They're all over the place here.
Yes. And we've been here before.
We have been here before. University of Alabama, in your neck of the woods, where you used to be the cartoonist at the Birmingham News, the University of Alabama has suspended the publication of 2 student-run magazines, one focused on Black students and another one on women, because they violate DEI, anti-DEI policies issued by the Trump administration. And finally, last but not least, the Australia has its new law is about to go into effect, in which basically no one under today, I guess it already has because of the time difference.
Yeah, teens in Australia are not watching this right now.
If you believe in like time zones and circular Earth and all that crap,
yeah.
What a lie. Anyway. Hey YouTube, I'm kidding here. YouTube actually will take you down if they think you're spreading misinformation. Anyway, so the no flat earthers here. Australia's so if you're under 16 years old, you're not allowed to use social media. at all in Australia. And we'll talk about that, whether that's effective or a good idea or whatever. And I'm going to check in and just see if, okay, so I think we have some, I'm looking at the YouTube chat right now. I'm going to wait for Robbie to put up the comments. That's basically, or maybe I'll just do that right now because I want to be sure that I'm up to date here. Okay. Okay. It's not piracy. It's privateering.
Yes, he's right. They're right. Okay. We stand corrected.
Yes. Our apologies. What's the difference between privateering and piracy?
Privateering was literally sanctioned piracy. A privateer was hired by a lot of times either Britain or Spain.
Or France, right? Sometimes.
France did it too. Yeah, there were French pirates as well, privateers, and they were pirates. And the governments of these would say, "Okay, you leave our ships alone. You go after the Spanish ships. We won't mess with you. You go do your thing and obstruct or and disrupt the Spanish supply chain, and you can keep what you find." And that's the difference. Piracy was just sort of freelance, like You and I are pirate cartoonists now. Neither of us is on staff or working for someone. So we're not privateers. We're just freelance. We're just pirates.
That's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Oh, well, so this is totally true. I mean, we could talk about Australia first. We don't have to talk about anything in any particular order.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're just joining us, that's Scott Stantis is our guest host. John Kiriakou back tomorrow. NPC3PO says that VPN prices in Australia are going to skyrocket. Yeah, so let's talk. Shall we start with Australia? Yeah. Because, censorship is obviously an issue near and dear to us. So, I mean, John, Scott, you asked me earlier today when you put up this story in the chat, what did I think of it? And I said, well, I hate social media. And so I kind of think it has a toxic effect on young people in particular. I think it has a toxic effect on everyone.
Yes.
And I think it's done a lot of more harm than good overall. So I have no problem with this, except for the fact that I don't think it's going to work. And you asked me why. And I said, kids always find a way. And I'm reminded of, the horny 8-9, well, I wasn't horny. The curious 8-year-old I was, and the horny 14-year-old I was in search of porn. And I found a way, it's like my friend's dads had it. My favorite.
Oh yeah.
We used to have a Boy Scout. I was in Boy Scouts, and we had a newspaper and magazine recycling drive. And so people would drive up with their station wagon full of newspapers and magazines for us to recycle. And there was always a father who would come up with like a giant pile of Penthouses or Playboys. And we were like, yay! So, those just fell right into our lap. There's always a helpful, there's always a clerk, a scummy clerk at a cigar store who would sell you a magazine. People would lie about their age if they looked, if you had a friend who was 16 but looked 18 or could pass, you'd get them to go buy it. The point is VPNs, which of course make it look like you're in another country. Those will be a workaround for anybody who wants to do this. There was a story, I think we talked about it here on the show a couple of days ago, where a girl who was wanted to go do a workaround. She basically the screener asked her for her photo. It's designed to facially recognize youth. So I would never pass. I wouldn't.
No.
People think I'm so youthful. I could be 15. But anyway, she just held up a picture. She just went over and took her phone over to a family photo of her mother, clicked it, and it was like, that'd be an old lady. Done. How can you really verify that an internet user is over 16? You can't.
I'm not sure what the technical aspect of this bill said and how they monitor it. And I suspect they're going to put pressure on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever the latest, the social media platform is. and put constraints on them. Say if we're going to, and that may be how they enforce this, which would be the smart way to enforce it, because hundreds of thousands of Australian teenagers trying to go on social media, you're not going to be really have the numbers or your own interior architecture to monitor that. We need to learn more about that. But can it be effective? It is a problem. And Ted, you're absolutely right. It's a problem for everybody. My God, I go out to dinner with friends or family, and I look at tables of people who are not talking to each other. They're on their damn phones. And let me hand this over to our viewers and listeners. Look at someone, especially if they're under 50, although I found that that's not the case as much anymore, but just for shits and giggles, let's say under 50, and they're on their phone and they put it down, and Ted, they can be on a date, clearly, obviously on a date, and then watch them and look at your clock, look at your watch, and they start showing signs of addiction. Like they start shaking. I'm not kidding. They start getting very twitchy. And within 2.5 to 3 minutes, they will be looking at their phone again. I guarantee it. And that's addiction. That's not, just and it's not rare. And this isn't just Scott talking that, I'm going to a restaurant in, Hoover, Alabama. This is everywhere that I go. Go on, Ted, you travel with some frequency on airplanes. Now, many of them offer texting. But did you ever watch someone before they offered that service? Have you ever watched people on those planes? I can remember, this is how old Scott is, when people used to smoke on airplanes, and then they banned smoking. They had the smoking section and the non-smoking section, which hilariously was partitioned by a curtain because nicotine and which you must have been, because you have
I remember
lung issues. You must have hated traveling back then.
Oh my God, I was miserable. Yeah. And you were better off if you were in first class. The smoking section was in the back. So if you were in first class, you probably didn't really directly encounter the full effect of the fumes, but obviously the air circulates in the cabin, right? But I was, flying coach always, and typically like near the back row. Restaurants were the same way, Scott. Right, where it was just like they had a separate smoking section, maybe 6 feet away from the non-smoking section.
But then they banned smoking on airplanes, and these people, you could see the smokers. They were demonstrating the exact same behavior I just described for people on social media. They get very twitchy, very snippy, very clearly agitated. And that's what social media has done to us. And this damn brick we carry around with us.
One of our colleagues, who I loathe, Art Spiegelman, editor, who's a cartoonist who did Mouse, graphic novelist. He is a famous cigarette addict. He got caught smoking in the bathroom of a transatlantic. Cigarette? Yeah.
Not vaping even?
No. This was maybe I'd say about 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, flying between France and New York, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't do it. And basically you do see these people raw dogging it now. Like they can't even distract themselves with a movie or a book. They can't. They're just like literally, like you said, they're literally like this, or they're staring at the map, just waiting for like, okay, this too shall pass. I will get there.
It's the reason I stopped going to movies, is people on their social media. I went to go see, this is how long ago it was. What was that awful Cameron animated CGI film about, paradise?
Avatar. So you saw Avatar 2? This was recent?
No, this is how long ago it was Avatar 1.
Okay, all right.
And the kid sitting next to me could not text. And I asked him to stop. I said, hey, listen, that light's really bright. Can you not do that? And
it's against the rules. They tell you not to.
Well, sure. But have you ever known an addict to follow the rules? I mean,
they can't.
It's part of their charm. So will this work in Australia? Yeah, there's going to be workarounds. VPN, like the commenter said, VPN sales are going to go through the roof for kids in Australia to get around this. But that's going to add a level of and a firewall that's going to be not as easy to climb.
So by the way, I looked up how this works.
Okay.
So basically, they have a thing. You're going to love this. You're going to die laughing.
Oh,
so
God.
this is called Kid ID, and the reason I'm saying you're going to laugh is because it's a company based in Singapore. Okay, so you can trust it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So basically, there's 3 methods you can prove to say that you're over 16. 1, a yes/no message is sent from your bank using Connect ID. So that's not privacy violating at all.
Wow.
Or you can scan in your government issued ID card, in other words, a passport, driver's license, etc. And KID will scan and validate that with the government. So it's great because the government will know about your predilections on Snapchat or whatever. Or you can take what most kids do is they take a selfie, and KID estimates an age range, which is, I guess, what's been going on. And there's been lots of mistakes, as you can say. So for example, like people who like scrunch. My son opened TikTok this morning and received this message: that your age is estimated to be 18. He is 11. My 13-year-old son passed the face scan by hiding his teeth and scrunching up his face. It basically figures he's over 30 plus. He is 10. He looks like 10. My son is almost 16 and was kicked off Snapchat already but my daughter, who is 14, hasn't been asked to verify her age. We know multiple children who are 13 who passed the Face ID test. You get the idea.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, there are people who look younger and people who look older. And that one girl you mentioned earlier who just took, walked her phone over to a picture of mom.
She didn't even say, "Hey, mom, look at me."
Yeah, just well, why? That would incur human communication and interaction, and that just can't happen in this day and age, Ted. That's one of the problems with social media. That's what it fights against. As someone who leans libertarian, I'm kind of torn by this.
Oh, good.
I do wish that parents acted responsibly. First off, my kids and we have our first grandson, and they're being extremely conscientious about screens. They don't watch TV with him. They don't watch movies. He's just turned 2. They're saving that until I think he's 3 to see his first feature film. I suggested, The Godfather 1 and 2.
That's
excellent film.
Don't go to Godfather 3.
No, it's awful. It's awful.
Not good.
Yeah. Stop at 2. But in all seriousness, I think they're absolutely right. We go out to dinner with this kid and he actually talks to us and we talk to him, and he's looking around his environment. He's looking at the table. He's looking at the food that comes. He's making decisions. He's talking about why he likes things and why he doesn't like things, versus the conversation that most families around us are having, which are not exactly. I'm stunned. I'm stunned to find out when you go out to dinner. You mentioned your son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you pull out your phone from time to time. First of all, full disclosure, sure. Ted and I use our phone because it's part of our jobs. And as freelancers, we have to be on top of things and know, and so an editor may try to reach out to us, or, there's something that we need, but it's not all consuming. Ted and I did not grow up with this technology. So I think it's probably easier for us. But when you guys go out, is it phones away and talk, or can you?
So it's been an adjustment period. Now it's phones away and talk. As the adult, as the father, I set the tone. And so I put, and I used to be pretty bad. I used to be like just scrolling until the food came, right? And we both would be. And then at a certain point, we didn't even have a discussion about it. I just realized I needed to just, step up and just engage in conversation and make an effort. And, once you do it a little bit, it just becomes natural, and, it's more civilized. The thing is, I don't want to be that person at the restaurant with my kid. It's just, it's not cool. Look, the thing about this, I think the purpose of this ban, though, is not to just make sure we all, have better conversations at, at restaurants. I think
Probably not.
I mean, look, the fact is, kids have committed suicide because of cyberbullying. This mostly takes place on social media. It's particularly bad for girls, but not exclusively. There's, obviously there's, child predators and all sorts of evil motherfuckers online. I mean, how many parents who have a kid, have lost, hundreds or even thousands of dollars because their kid ran up some crazy bill because of a scam, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's like, it's treacherous territory for anybody. So I can see, but I think society has an interest in protecting kids. I think the whole nature of the internet, though, makes it impossible to verify people's ages because of VPNs and stuff like that. So I just think it's just like sort of impossible. I mean, I guess I would rather almost go supply side and regulate the social media companies themselves and make it so that they don't, there's several, one of the commenters said, "Oh, Cobra 180, thank you. Social media is designed to be addictive and young people don't have the mental resilience yet to resist." That's exactly right. I mean,
I don't think it's just kids either, by the way, but let's begin there, because we've lost generations. How many schools now across the nation, how many high schools have banned cell phones during school hours?
Oh, well, not enough. I mean, honestly, they all should be. Ali is saying, even so, why does the government have the right to govern what children can and can't do? Isn't that the responsibility or right of the parent? I mean, the government tells kids that they have to go to school, whether the parent wants them to or not.
They can't drink alcohol. They can't drive a car.
They can't own a gun until maybe, it depends on the state, right? But at least 16 in most cases. There's all sorts of things the government tells kids they can't do or must do.
Right, because they're a protected class. They're an at-risk class. That's why you can tell that. Now, should you leave it to the parents? You should, but my God, there's some shitty parents out there.
True.
Okay, side issue, real quick, Ted, and it's a yes or no or short answer. But I've noticed lately that teenagers driving around with muscle cars and big old SUVs. Are you seeing that where you live?
Yeah, no, especially. Well, I mean, I guess just given the fact that most cars are now SUVs that are sold in the U.S. I mean, look, okay. Full disclosure, my first car was a muscle car, but in my defense,
okay, what was it?
It was so it was a '74 Nova, but with a custom V8 Corvette engine.
Ooh.
And it had bench seats. It was sweet. It was blue. I miss it. It had bench seats.
Yes. Notice that guys our age will say bench seats several times.
You know it, and you know what that means. Yeah, you know why bench seats are important.
They are très important. Yeah, my first car was a '68. Mine was not. Mine was a 1968 Rambler American. 3 on the 3, baby.
That's a great car, though.
It could.
Bucket seats,
I bought it for $25. I sold it a year and a half later for $100, and it made it between Madison, Wisconsin, and Denver, Colorado 3 times.
So do you know the singer-songwriter Ben Vaughn?
Sure.
So Ben Vaughn recorded an entire album in a '65 Rambler.
Really?
I think it's called Rambler '65. Oh, and it's actually one of his better ones.
Yeah, that's like a legendary album, isn't it?
I don't know, but I mean, he's great. He's one of those underrated, undersung heroes for sure. By the way, Robbie, if we got I like Robbie's comment here.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the government will let a kid get sex changes and mutilate themselves. Fair point.
Don't forget the debate about abortion and that.
That's true too.
Parental notification. The kid wants to get tonsillectomy. The kid wants to get an aspirin. I'm not kidding. An aspirin from the school nurse. They have to get your permission as the parent. But terminating a pregnancy,
cutting off their dick
decisions.
Well, actually, they do have to get your permission to cut off their dick, but to start wearing a dress at school, but changing in their locker or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about. We have other stuff more to get to, and we should probably move on. Robbie, if and when you're ready, please, if we have any ads, please let me know, and I will read those. Okay, so so we'll see what we'll follow the Australia thing, obviously. Okay, so let's talk about Venezuela. That's the main story of the day. The administration has now killed, by its own count, 87 Venezuelan nationals in the Southern Caribbean. In about a dozen probably drone strikes. Okay, here's that ad. I'm going to go ahead and read that, Scott. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee. Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits hard, the smooth, medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, in a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Okay, so moving on. So Venezuela has had apparently an oil. It's fair to say not a Venezuelan tanker, but a tanker carrying Venezuelan crude was seized by the U.S. I mean, this is not the first time, right, that the U.S. has seized a vessel on the high seas, is it?
Well, I mean, you mean in our history? Hell no.
Yeah. We do this from time to time.
We do, but this is such a provocation. This is clearly Donald Trump and the Trump administration looking at the numbers. That idiotic rally they had the other night with the slogan behind them, lower prices, high, bigger wages, both of which are untrue. You and I both know that the wages going up have not gone up nearly enough to go up with inflation. Inflation is an issue. You can't stand in front of people and say this, you're not paying more when you're paying more, So how do they distract from that? Let's go to war with Venezuela.
But not like full war, right? I mean, nobody thinks that Trump is going to go like Bush in Iraq and
I think he'll go as far
tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of U.S. troops.
Ted, I believe this administration is going to go as far as it has to go to take people's minds off the economy. The economy is by far and away the driving factor coming up to the midterm elections.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and we should talk about some breaking news that's relevant to that. Cool. So the new AP poll just came out. I'm looking for it here. Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but I remember the numbers. So basically, the AP poll is echoing results that we've seen from other mainstream polling agencies that shows that Trump is way underwater, especially on the economy. He only currently has a 31% national approval rating, barely squeaking by even with Republican voters. And that's way down from his approval rating back in February. And then similarly, he's now underwater on immigration, which actually surprised me because I thought, if you're, he promised mass deportations, he promised a cruel ICE policy. He promised these raids. And, if you're into that, he's delivering. I mean, you can argue about the methodology or the lack of prioritizing the worst of the worst, which they're not doing.
No.
You can complain about the execution, but he is delivering mass deportations. I mean, that's true. We could bring in, I see Robbie smiling here. I'm going to bring in Robbie because he always likes to talk about this topic and he always has stuff to say. All right, Robbie.
Hey, bud.
Go ahead. I saw you grinning back there.
Well, yeah, no, it's true. I mean, but really what my question is, honest to God, is why would anyone vote for a Republican when you can get a Democrat without the hypocrisy? And here's what I mean about that. In Trump's first term, and this is one of the things we kind of sparred about before the show started, Trump promised no more omnibus bills. He's promised he's going to drain the swamp. He was going to balance the budget. He was going to be fiscally responsible. Yes, I realize he bankrupted a casino. However, he was at least saying the right things. And now, his second term, he gave us the mother of all omnibus bills, crammed it down our throats. And this is one thing I'm really curious about y'all's opinion on this, Scott and Ted, is I'm of the old school definition with inflation that inflation is the expansion of the money supply. It's not rising prices. So the rising prices are a symptom of inflation, but inflation is actually the increase of the money supply. Well, if you're spending like a drunken sailor and you don't have enough tax dollars to pay for it, so you're running a deficit, if you're then printing money, then you're creating inflation, which then destroys the purchasing power of every single dollar in circulation.
Now let's circle back to the spending policies of this administration and the Republicans in general. When Republicans, remember fiscal conservatism, folks? Remember that? No, neither do I. But it was a thing, believe it or not. When you spend more, that means that you're taking out loans. The federal government is spending money it doesn't have. So that those loans have to be serviced. So that puts strain on the budget, which means you have to spend more money, which means how does the federal government get money? It prints it. It doesn't cut spending because this administration
destroys the purchasing power of every dollar that's in circulation. And that's one of the biggest reasons that we sparked about immigration.
But Robbie, I got to tell you, I mean, there's more to inflation is a feature of this consumerism-based economy, right? Like roughly 2/3 of the GDP of the U.S. is generated by consumerism, and inflation creates an intentional policy that's made to devaluing the dollar incents you to buy things now as opposed to later when they're more expensive. It's the opposite of, we've talked about deflationary spirals like during the Great Depression, where if something costs $100 now, but it's going to be 50 in 6 months, you're going to wait. And then in 6 months, you might be like, well, it's going to be 25. I should wait. So nobody buys anything. And then you don't have so I don't know how this system can pivot to low or no inflation and still be consumerism based. I mean, the Soviet state economy didn't care about selling lots of consumer items. Like when they made a car, they were trying to put a car in a Soviet driveway and leave it there. They didn't want a Soviet citizen to be back in the market 2 years later for a new car. But America does. America wants that car to fall apart and you to be back. So, I mean, it's a completely different economic model.
I don't see how so I see this as a multi-pronged problem. One, if you want to drive wages up, which if you want to have a stable country, you got to be able to afford the things that you need, then you have to reindustrialize. Like you have to bring jobs back. That's one of the things that does not make any sense to me about Trump and his tariffs. If they were serious about this, what you would do is that you would pressure Congress to pass this thing called a law. Is their legislature, they can do this. And they say if you do not bring these factories back, then this will by force of law, this is the price that you will pay for exporting all these jobs. I understand that what I'm saying is protectionist, 100%, because it is.
Scott and I have argued without you over the years. I'm very protectionist and anti-free trade.
The country's getting looted. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you want to bring wages back, then you have to bring back good jobs, and then you got to figure out what are these jobs going to look like in the age of AI. And so, as jobs are being shed, and you have inflation, which is destroying the purchasing power of every dollar in circulation, and then you're further depressing wages through immigration, which we do not need. Then really what you're doing is that you're setting up the total implosion of the middle class of your country. And I cannot think of a single representative style of government that has ever been successful without a middle class. That's how you become Venezuela.
You know, this man with the magnificent beard named Karl Marx saw all this coming, almost 200 years ago. He said, you're going to end up with what we are now, us Marxists call a crisis of overproduction. We now have a lot of consumer goods sitting in warehouses and on the shelves that increasingly people are not going to be able to buy. Right? I mean, so then what?
See, and right there, that's where your argument. Well, right there, that's where your argument about deflation falls apart. What difference does it make if I, as an individual, wait to buy something because it might be cheaper in 6 months, versus not be able to buy anything now because I simply cannot afford it? I mean,
Well,
as y'all know,
in the end, those two things are going to be the same because it's a consumer-based society. But how you get there, the road looks different. So
And that's where immigration comes in, and that's where you create more and more consumers and grow the population because it's not happening naturally. It never has.
No. No, absolutely no.
Yes, that's exactly. We've done it for 250 years.
But for most of that time, Scott, we did not have a welfare state. Now we do, and we're $37 trillion in debt. So that's
not due to welfare.
Well, no, not due to welfare. I'm talking about
just passed a $900 billion defense plan. They just passed the House. It's going to the Senate, which will pass it, which will go to the president. If you slap the name defense on a bill, a spending bill, they're going to pass the damn thing. It's insane. $900 billion.
We should close every overseas base tomorrow, reduce the size of the military by 90%.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you.
So what's the point?
At all.
We don't. I mean, it's like, because, by the way, in the extremely unlikely event we need to send troops overseas, we do have boats and planes. We can use those and we can send them. Look at England. Well, how long did it take them to get down to the Falklands and kick the Argentines?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've forgotten.
Weeks, right?
Well, at the outbreak of World War II, the United States Navy was, I think, the 15th largest on the planet.
Mm.
So, I mean,
I think
we were right behind.
I think France was the biggest, actually.
Yes, France was massive. We were right behind Portugal.
Obviously, that French Navy really helped in 1940.
But one thing,
the Germans were thrilled because they got the ports, they got the shipyards, they got the ships. It was awesome.
One thing I'll say before I pop off, because I know we need to continue. The whole reason why Russia defeated the United States and the West collectively in Ukraine is because they do not have a consumer-based economy. They have a resource and production-based economy. They build things and they have things that people need. We have debt. We have credit cards. We have banking. Banking does not win wars.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with Robbie when I don't have anything to argue with Robbie about. Okay, Robbie, we'll get back to you. Okay, so
hi, Rob.
So let's talk about the economy. Nobody can. So the Fed, it's a little disconcerting that they can't decide what's going on in the economy. So basically, it looks like we're headed towards your favorite stagflation, where basically you have a stagnant economy with low or no job growth or maybe job losses. By the way, in Q4, we are currently anticipating job losses in
what
this
percentage?
We don't know, but the point is, we need 200,000 to 300,000 new jobs just to sort of keep our heads above water every quarter, right? And we're not getting that.
In the last quarter, if I'm not mistaken, it was higher than we expected, but it was still about 103, 113,000.
It was, and before that, I think it was 22,000. It was pretty low.
It was anemic.
It's anemic. So, I mean, this is bad. I mean, job losses is like, warning, recession on the horizon or worse. And then inflation does seem a bit out of control right now.
And I don't believe that the number is under 3%. I mean, that's the number. That's the official number.
That's a lie.
But you and I, like I said, you, me, and everyone listening goes out to the supermarket and buys groceries. We go and buy gas. We consume stuff. And I went out for pho last night, which is, we go out because it's fairly affordable, It's not affordable anymore, Ted. We went out and can you guess how much? And my pho was
according to Robbie just put up in a chat, which you can't see, they're anticipating a loss of 1 million jobs over the course of this year when they announced the new. I mean, that's absolutely devastating.
Yeah, I mean, we're entering some very dangerous and
it is the AI thing, among other things.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
look, honestly, we have to pay people to stay home. We just do, and we're not going to.
We're going to have to look seriously, and don't forget. I mean, for my conservative friends. Coming from a libertarian standpoint, I probably fight against this, but conservative is Adam Smith advocated for a minimum guaranteed income so that people could afford
the Andrew Yang thing,
live. And if we're entering those waters where 1 million jobs, I'm not sure if it's 1 million jobs, Ted, then that's very, very, very.
It's like Bill Paxton and Aliens. Game over, man.
Game over. Well, because I'm not sure how and where I love Robbie to death, but I disagree with him on immigration. And the way you grow an economy is with consumers and people people consuming things. And how do you get that? Well, Europeans aren't great at making babies, apparently. And we never have been. So this country has always depended on an influx of immigrants. As I mentioned before, Germans in the 1700s, Irish, Chinese, Italian, big influx before the German, again, before the beginning of World War II. Large number of immigrants build economies. And now you don't do it helter-skelter. You don't do it. You don't just fling open the doors and say, come on in, kids. Don't mess up the carpets. You do it in a reasonable, measured way, but you can't, but to just shut things down, to go after. There's a favorite restaurant of ours near us. It's a Thai restaurant, and ICE just raided them a couple of weeks ago. So, they deported that very dangerous cook and the dishwasher because that's a threat. Somehow.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously a lot. I mean,
God,
Trump
a million
is good
jobs.
at
Do you believe that,
diagnosing.
Ted?
Pardon?
1 million jobs. Do you think that could happen?
I find it very hard to believe. I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't think so. But if that, if that happens, it's a whole new world, and this administration is not going to know what to do. I mean, previous administration wouldn't have known what to do either. It's the system's not set up for this. They have to completely rethink everything. They're going to have to start pretending to care about ordinary people like us. And they're going to have to start paying us to sit around on our asses, which they can afford to do. The productivity is in the economy.
You can't go out and have a rally that says, are you going to believe me or your lying eyes?
That's what Trump did.
That's what Trump did the other night. And you can't do it. It's George H.W. Bush did the exact same thing.
That's how Biden lost too. Biden did the same thing. Everything's fine. Don't worry.
Well, for him it was because he had his soup.
Right. Good point.
It just feels like we're entering into some very bad waters, and it's economic. I'm deeply disappointed that the Fed, which I also deeply despise, as I've made no secret over the years, but for them to capitulate to the president's urges to lower interest rates, that's just going to increase inflation. When you have, this is economics 101. This is insanity, Ted. It's insanity. Interest rates.
The Fed always does the wrong thing at the right time. When they should boost the economy by cutting in interest rates, they don't. And then when it's like you're heading into recession, then, or you're dealing with an inflationary stagflation situation. I mean, here's the thing. The Fed's trying to juice the job market by cutting interest rates, but that's not going to work if you have a structural dynamic in play like AI. Right. It's like that assumes no big changes afoot, but that's not true.
No,
right?
We have very big. And the thing is, it wasn't that high. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to sound like the president or George H.W. Bush, but it wasn't that high. And it also allowed for returns for savings accounts to actually get you some money back if you put your money in the bank. That's what a crazy idea to encourage Americans to save. You actually get, money from your savings. They're not going to get that. I had to laugh when people I knew were buying houses or looking at houses and complaining about the interest rates being 6%. I'm going, you know how much I pay? How much interest rate I paid on my first house? It was 10%. And we paid points to get it down from 11.5.
Yeah. I hear you. By the way, Jensters has a good comment here.
Good.
Don't pay people to stay home, pay a good living wage for a 20-hour work week. Well, that is something that the French have played with because they've had unemployment has been a perennial problem in the French economy for decades. And one of the things they've been doing is steadily reducing the work week until Emmanuel Macron came along and started to stop that or try to reverse that. But I mean, that makes sense too, right? I mean, in a lot of businesses, you probably can get almost as much done in 20 hours as you can in 40. I mean, let's face it. You get to the office. Oh man, I got to get some coffee. Oh, now that coffee, it really made me need to poo. So I'm going to poo. Oh, like
The poo economy.
the poo economy. And it's like, oh, I make some personal phone calls. You don't really, it's like you start to get, you roll up your sleeves, you start to work around 11:15. Oh man, look, lunch. It's like, like,
Oh, you're absolutely right. That's one of the things. I was more productive working from home than going into the office by a lot, because you go into, especially a newsroom, which is, what's the point of a newsroom? To collect news and to disperse it. And so you walk into a newsroom, people want to disperse the news to you. I get this. And so my mornings were always wasted by exactly what you're describing, Ted. Always. You're talking to this person, that person. You got to stop by this person's desk. You got to, bring a present that for this other guy's birthday or his work anniversary. And then you had to go grab a cup of Joe, and then you drank that. And it was hyper caffeinated. So like you said, the poo economy kicked in. Yeah, it was 20 hours. Yeah, you could probably reasonably do that. I think the French work week is now 36 and a half hours.
No. We're there. I think they're at 30.
Is it 30 now? Holy Mary. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
And don't
wow,
forget,
wow.
they have those awesome summer vacations, right? They kick off for 6 weeks from
Australians,
mid-July to the end of August.
We have friends who are Australian.
Which, by the way, does stimulate the economy, the tourist economy. I mean, they all travel.
Oh yeah, no, like I said,
Mostly in
Australians are
France.
bananas. They have a month to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how cool is that? And because they understand we're an island in the middle of friggin' nowhere with kangaroos and a big rock in the middle. That's about it. You should go see the rest of the world.
We've got to go. I mean, we can drink at home or we can drink overseas.
They do drink. Oh my God.
They do drink a lot. I mean, what I like about the Australians is they're the one other nationality that when you travel overseas, you're like, look, there's people even more loutish than Americans. So that's cool. All right. So a couple of comments I wanted to get to.
Yeah, let's get
Manya the Cat says one thing Robbie misses is that a lot of rich kids of politicians and businessmen from poorer countries come to America. So they aren't all poor. A lot of them spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in the U.S. And they attend these pricey Ivy League schools and pay full tuition, right? So
yes.
And they're subsidizing these schools.
University of Alabama, I imagine Columbia is in the same position, and other universities made bank. I mean, to the point where
27% of Harvard students are international students.
7?
Which, by the way, 27%.
Oh yeah, no, university.
It pisses me off, actually.
You want to get really pissed off, Ted? Let me throw this one out at you. 7.5% of students in state colleges in California are from California. 7.2%.
Yeah, that's a fucking outrage.
They paid for it. Californians paid for this, and they can't get into their own university.
Yeah, and if they do get in, they can't graduate in 4 years because there's so little availability of classes. It's because the whole system is fucked up. It takes 5 years to get a 4-year degree there.
I blame Robbie.
I blame Robbie too. It's all Robbie's fault. Let's talk about University of Alabama.
Real quick,
I have to admit, why don't you tee up this story, because I'm not really clear. So first of all, let me just ask you: University of Alabama, is that a public or a private school?
Public.
Okay, so the Trump administration has issued federal guidance threatening the removal of federal funds from institutions, private and public, that have DEI/woke stuff. So pursuant to that, U of A has suspended 2 student-run magazines. Take it away.
Yeah, one is called, I believe, 1954, which was the year the first African-American student was admitted into the University of Alabama. And we all remember George Wallace standing in front of the door and all that bullshittery. And the other publication is called Alice, which is a feminist or a publication directed towards women and women students, both of which Alice has been around for 10 years. 1954 has been around for longer. How long? I mean, there have been traditional publications for women. There have been traditional publications for the African-American community, as there is for Latino or for any other community. That these publications service them. To shut them down, first of all, I'm not sure. It's so funny, Ted. The editor of Alice said, "What about the First Amendment?" I go, "What about it? You have a right to go ahead and keep saying what you're saying and publish it if you can find someone to pay for it." The university has rescinded underwriting of these 2 publications. DEI I have profound issues, and obviously being a white male, it really kind of, some of their edicts and some of their overarching and overreach was galling to the extreme. And you and I have talked about the boy problem, and that's another podcast, and we're kind of running out of time here. But briefly, when you try, can you ratchet and pull some of that stuff back? Yeah, but should you get rid of it? Can you say that this was never, ever a problem and these communities don't deserve any kind of servicing or recognition? That's absurd as well. There is a middle ground here, and that's always what I argue. These publications serve a vital service. I suspect they're probably the only conduit for a voice of two large, dynamic entities at the University of Alabama, and to shut them down, to put at the altar of Trumpism is bananas. Ted?
I guess I think I agree with you on all of that. I mean, what I guess I would like, I understand if the university wants to say we're not going to fund you anymore, in the same way that the federal government has decided not to fund PBS or NPR anymore. But shutting it down goes further, right? It's shutting it down is saying not only, well, we're not paying for your lifestyle anymore, but literally we're not even going to let you. We're not going to let you pass out a cup. We're not going to let you reach out to alums. We're not going to let you sell subscriptions. You're just not going to be able to operate on campus. That's censorship. I think that you can, I mean, if there were a lawsuit here, I would say the real cause of action isn't the cutoff of funding. It's the fact that, like, they're not even allowing these publications to be distributed should they find alternative sources of funding.
Yeah. No, it's absurd.
And the First Amendment does apply if it's a public school.
I think you may be right. We had constraints for school publications. Did you work when you were going to Columbia? Did you work for?
Absolutely. You'll like this story. I worked for the Columbia Daily Spectator, and I was the what?
It's just like, why wouldn't it be the Columbian? It seems to me would be.
Oh, well, that would have been a better name, but it was the Columbia Daily Spectator. Had a terrible masthead, but anyway, the point is, a lot of its alums went on to the New York Times and places like that. And I wrote and I drew cartoons, and then ultimately I got really angry because they kept shrinking my cartoons more and more. You know this story, and the last one they ever ran, I swear on my mother's non-existent grave, that it was it was a 4-panel cartoon, and they printed it 1.5 inches wide.
Oh, good God!
So literally, it was smaller than it would have appeared had they existed at the time.
Did you confront the editor?
Screen.
Did you ever confront the editor on this?
Yes.
What was their explanation?
She was basically like, "Sucks to be you." I was like, "Fine, fuck you." So I quit, and R.J. Matson ended up taking my spot in the Spectator.
Hill.
And I went over to Barnard, across the street to Barnard, the girls' college, which didn't have a cartoonist. And even though I'm not a girl, I was like, "Hey, can I draw cartoons for you?" And they're like, "Sure." So I worked for the Barnard Bulletin, and then I worked for the Jester, which was the equivalent of the Harvard Lampoon, except not as good, at Columbia.
Wow, I you know what? I have never heard that story. That's insane.
It's actually, I still have it. I will find it and I will send it to you.
I would love to see it.
You will die of laughter because it's. I mean, I kept it literally. Part of me at the time was like, it's gone past being insulting to the point of ridiculousness. I used to be disgusted. Now I'm just amused, as Elvis Costello said. So, all right. So, I mean, do you think there's going to be a lawsuit here? I mean.
Oh, I would. I mean, I would assume that the AFL-CIO, the American Civil Liberties Union will step up, and I think they have a case in this instance. This is a gift given to the Trumpies in the area, and believe me, Alabama has one or two of them, as you might imagine.
Ray 2020 says, "Let them make zines."
Yeah, well, you do have that option. I went to Long Beach State, and Long Beach State had the Daily 49er, which was the one that was the official organ of the approved by the administration of Long Beach State University. But they also had a second publication that was published off campus, distributed on campus, and it was a lot more fun. It was a lot more interesting, had a lot more interesting articles. And quite frankly, they had an artist who ended up doing storyboards for George Lucas.
Oh, wow.
Great guy. He once told me that he could not draw unless he was stoned.
You know, I know a cartoonist like that who says that he can't draw unless he's drunk.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I'll tell you later who it is.
Yeah,
But, it's like, but when I tell you, you're going to be like, but he's an amazing draftsman. And that's true.
Wow. No, this guy was a remarkable draftsman. He was incredible, but he swore that unless he was stoned, he couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't draw when I'm stoned. It just doesn't work. Oh
God. I mean, I have, even if I just have like a beer while I'm drawing, I'm even shittier than I usually am.
Yeah. Have you ever driven? Okay. Full disclosure. Then because we're over time.
And I've got to bring Robbie in to talk about tomorrow's show, but go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, have you ever drawn drunk?
I have.
So have I.
It doesn't go well.
It does not. Your brain is like going, okay, you need to be
CWI, cartooning while intoxicated. Should be against friends. Don't let their friends draw drunk. Yeah. Robbie, let's bring it. Robbie, tell us what's going on tomorrow with the call-in show here on DeProgram.
Okay, so tomorrow, the reason why we're doing it as a Rumble exclusive is because it's going to be a live show, and I cannot control what comes out of your mouth. So if someone comes on and they go on a verbal tirade against a protected class, then YouTube will definitely nuke that episode, if not the entire channel. Thus, the Rumble exclusive. Let me go ahead and share the link for y'all real quick on the chat. You will be able to, basically, there's going to be a call-in lobby. You'll log in there early. The earlier that you get in there, the better off you're going to be. And then I will drag you and drop you into a hidden room that John and Ted will be in, and probably me myself. I don't know. We'll kind of figure that out, how it goes. Probably be all three of us.
And Robbie, you're going to put the calls up.
Yeah, I will put the calls up. So I will be doing everything. So if something breaks, since I am a married man, you can legitimately say it is all my fault, because it will 100% all be my fault. And I will go away on this little tidbit. If I was a Catholic, my patron saint would be Vlad Tepes, because good fences make good neighbors.
And thank you for that, Robbie. Okay, so please stay tuned. We have a full morning here, at least I do, and I hope you are along with me for the ride. We're 1/3 of the way through it. Coming up in just 2 minutes is the TMI show with me, Ted Rall, and Manila Chan, where we take a lighter take on the news. And then at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour later, DMZ America podcast with Scott Stantis and myself, if you haven't got enough of us.
Yay.
But we'll be joined by our colleague, animated editorial cartoonist. I mean, he's personally animated, but his cartoons.
He's a great guy. He'll be a great guest.
Yeah, he's really, really smart and really funny. It's Mark Fiore, based in San Francisco. And the odds are you've probably seen his work. He's been all over the internet for many, many years, and he's still doing it. But his life is taking some new turns. His career is taking some new directions. So do stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, DeProgram with me and John will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Yes,
and one more note. Thank you to 1775coffee.com for sponsoring this episode. This show, this commercial moment was brought to you by 1775 Coffee.
Thank you.
Go
indeed.
buy it.
Yeah, Robbie says it's good coffee. So,
I know I love good coffee.
I know with the hours he keeps, he'd be drinking some strong coffee. So, all right. Thanks, everyone, and stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.